Breaking news tonight, a helicopter carrying tourists crashes into the Hudson River in New York City, killing 6 people. The video's just coming in. The moment the chopper plunged into the river, witnesses describing its blades flying off before it dropped. The massive rescue effort off of Manhattan. Tonight, a closer look at helicopter tourism. Another aviation accident today, planes clipping wings at Reagan National. 6 members of Congress on board amid concerns that runway is just too packed. Markets plunge with that tariff confusion. The president now warning there will be a, quote, transition cost as his plans go into place. Pulled from the rubble, dramatic new video of a survivor rescued after that roof collapse in the Dominican Republic as the death toll soars past 200. Kidnapped in a U-Haul. The police chase caught on camera as they pursue a man who allegedly trapped 2 people in the back of his rental truck. The high-profile apology after this college student spoke exclusively to us on camera about a vicious rumor about her that went national. One of the big names whose platform helped spread it talks to us about why he regrets it. If you could talk to Mary Kate tonight, what would you tell her?
This is NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt.
And good evening. We are coming on the air tonight with breaking news. A deadly chopper crash in the Hudson River. It happened late today. A tourist helicopter carrying 5 people and 1 pilot suddenly plummeted into the water below. We're going to play for you now the moment it dropped from the sky. And we are pausing here before the moment of impact. What happened next was a furious rescue effort on one of the busiest waterways in the world. The scene, reminiscent of the miracle on the Hudson 16 years ago, near the same exact location. But the results today, far from a miracle. All 6 on board killed, including 3 children. A warning tonight, some of the images you're about to see are disturbing. Our team is on the scene of the crash, and Sam Brock joins us now live. Sam, they tried so hard to rescue those passengers.
Tom, good evening. That's right. According to authorities, divers were in the water within minutes of the call coming in. Over my shoulder, you can still see the flashing lights across the Hudson River. That's the scene as we're learning more about this family now that died, including 3 kids. The terrifying final moments of the helicopter flight captured on video as it fell out of the sky and plunged into New York City's Hudson River.
We have multiple boats still in the water conducting searches for any additional occupants of the aircraft.
These images showing the chopper turned upside down in the water.
We got our parts in the water.
The plane was turned around, sitting there in the water, almost like it was floating.
Tonight, authorities say the crash happened around 3:17 p.m. That 6 people were on board that flight, and there are no survivors.
According to the manifest, aboard the helicopter were 6 people, 1 pilot, 2 adults, and 3 children.
The mayor saying it was a tourist sightseeing flight with a family from Spain on board that had taken off from Lower Manhattan.
I have the entire family members. We're lifting them up in prayer.
We were met by the first responders and they told us they did everything they can to try to save these victims, and you can see the trauma in their face.
Dominic Cognata was walking to a flag football game on Manhattan's West Side when he witnessed the crash. What did you see?
So I just happened to be walking, and I heard it sounded like a engine just dying, and it was like do 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 do, and I just turned, I looked, and I saw the helicopter crash and splash into the water.
A former NTSB investigator tells us the video appears to show the chopper breaking apart.
Well, it appears to me from the video that there was some sort of catastrophic flight control malfunction where the main rotor blade and head and the tail rotor blade assembly departed the aircraft in flight.
Sam joins us again live. And Sam, eyewitnesses are telling you more about what they saw when that chopper went down?
Yeah, Tom, that's right. We spoke to another eyewitness who said it appears that something happened to the tail, dislodging the main rotor of the chopper, causing it to fall in a free fall. Right now, obviously, this crash is under investigation. The NTSB, Tom, is launching its own team. Tom.
All right, Sam Brock on those final moments. This crash is raising new concerns about the potential dangers of helicopter tourism. Emily Aketa has more.
In the wake of the terrifying crash on the Hudson, tonight, new questions around the safety of helicopters and sightseeing flights. As officials confirmed, today's aircraft was flying for the New York Helicopter Tour Company.
This is based on flight tracking software. a Bell 206 helicopter flying for the tour company New York Helicopters took off from the downtown Manhattan heliport at 2:59 p.m.
At least 32 people have died in helicopter crashes in New York City since 1977, according to the Associated Press. There was a fatal helicopter crash in New York City 7 years ago when 5 sightseers drowned after an open-door flight crashed in the East River off the Upper East Side. The pilot survived. In 2009, an even deadlier incident. 9 people died when a sightseeing helicopter collided with a private plane over the Hudson River. The iconic skyline, a magnet for tour operators, while also seeing both private recreational and commercial aircraft traffic.
There is quite a lot of traffic there just because it's a populous center, but I don't think that's an issue in this case.
Jeff Gazzetti is a former NTSB investigator.
It is a well-regulated industry. It has to meet FAA standards, but there have been some tragic crashes around the country and around the world involving air tour helicopters. You know, the idea is to give passengers somewhat of a thrill ride, and sometimes that increases the risk to these types of flights.
Emily joins us now on set. So, Emily, we know these trips are popular. How common are these helicopter crashes?
So while there have been some high-profile tragedies in recent years, experts point out that the rate of fatal helicopter accidents actually hit its lowest level last year in 25 years. Sightseeing tours making up about 15% of those crashes. Still tonight, we are seeing a renewed push from local leaders calling for a ban on non-essential helicopter flights over the city, Tom.
Okay, Emily, we thank you for that. Meanwhile, the FAA is investigating another incident tonight at Washington's Reagan National Airport after 2 planes clipped wings on the runway. This comes just months after that deadly mid-air collision there. NBC's Tom Costello is there tonight. Tom, what do we know about this one?
Well, you're absolutely right, and that is exactly why this is getting attention, because Reagan Airport has been in the national spotlight now for several weeks. What we know is that the FAA says today that 2 American Airlines regional jets were headed out for departure when a plane that was bound for Charleston, South Carolina, clipped the wing of a plane that was headed to New York's JFK Airport. No injuries. However, both planes' wings were damaged, according to American. They had to pull those planes back to the terminal. On board the plane to New York, 6 members of a congressional delegation, if you will, 6 members of Congress going home for the holiday. Again, no injuries here, but it does come 2 months after that fatal midair crash involving an Army helicopter and, of course, an American plane coming in for a landing. 67 people died. We also had a close call last month between an Air Force jet and a Delta plane, and then the FAA has come in and replaced the managers and the control tower after a supervisor punched a controller. The FAA says impact to operations here today really was rather minimal. Tom?
All right, Tom, glad no one was hurt there. We thank you for that. We turn now to the chaos on Wall Street. Not over yet. It was another brutal day with some of yesterday's gains wiped out. The president today ramping up his trade war on China and warning it will come at a cost to Americans. Here's Christine Romans.
Another day of whiplash on Wall Street. The Dow closing down more than 1,000 points, reversing about a third of yesterday's historic gains. It's down 6.2% since President Trump announced new tariffs last week. And today, the president hinting the worst is not over.
There'll be a transition cost and transition problems, but in the end, it's going to be a beautiful thing.
Just 24 hours after he said people's nervous reactions to the market prompted his abrupt pause on most of the tariffs.
I thought that people were jumping a little bit out of line. They were getting yippy, you know? They were getting a little bit yippy, a little bit afraid.
But tonight, investors showing they are still worried about the growing trade war with China, with the White House clarifying its tax on Chinese imports will now total 145%.
Well, we'll see what happens with China. They've really taken advantage of our country for a long period of time. They've ripped us off beyond anybody. All we're doing is putting it back in shape.
And today, the Treasury Secretary insisting what he sees in the market is not unusual, that allies are calling now to make deals to lower their trade barriers on American companies.
We will end up in a place of great certainty over the next 90 days on tariffs. We had very good inflation numbers today.
That bright spot, consumer prices fell in March from the month before, bringing the inflation rate to 2.4%, better numbers than expected. But for so many small businesses, it's the ongoing turmoil over tariffs that's having the biggest impact.
your little small business that you love to walk to, we're really going to be hurting.
Kate Nelson owns the Greenwood Shop in California and on Instagram, where she sells goods from all over the world. She says she'll hold off ordering from China for now, but all other imports still face at least that baseline 10% border tax.
We have Mother's Day coming up. Mother's Day for small business is basically mini Christmas. And we are all terrified that our mini Christmas is not going to happen.
And Christine, I know you have some new reporting about some of the deals the president is trying to cut with these other countries.
Yeah, a couple of the president's advisors saying today there are about 15 countries that have made offers. They're prepping those. They're going to present those to the president. No movement on China here. And that pause, Tom, expires July 9th.
Okay, good to know there. Christine, we thank you for that. We head now to the Dominican Republic, where the death toll from that nightclub roof collapse is now more than 220. And we're about to show you some dramatic new videos of people being rescued from the rubble in real time. Aaron McLaughlin is there.
Tonight in Santo Domingo, the death toll soared to at least 221 killed. The number missing unknown, and officials in charge of the recovery operation in tears.
All Dominican people crying, believe me. I cry all day.
Cristobal Moya is one of 189 rescued, now recovering in the hospital. He shows us this video, shot, he says, by the people who saved him, shortly after the Jet Set nightclub's roof collapsed. You see him lying face down, covered in debris, surrounded by bodies and blood. He tells us he foresaw what looked like dust falling from the ceiling. Seconds later, the entire club completely collapsed. How did you survive? When I was hit on the head, I fell forward, he says, and that saved me. Meanwhile, today, across Santo Domingo, an icon was put to rest. Famed merengue singer Ruby Perez was performing at the time of the tragedy. His daughter Zulinka was with him on stage in front of a packed audience. She says her dad was singing with his when a beam collapsed, crushing him. An image she'll never forget. Authorities here say they don't know why it happened, declining questions about the investigation, while the owner of the Jet Set says he's being transparent. Tonight, authorities say they finished searching the rubble. A grim reality for many, still some moments of relief. But yesterday, this family discovered their loved one, once missing, was found in the hospital alive. Meanwhile, Moya shows us his injuries. God gave me a new opportunity at life, he says. His survival, bittersweet. He says 3 of his friends are still missing. Tonight, officials say of the 221 bodies pulled from the rubble, they've yet to identify 75, leaving an agonizing wait for the remaining families. Tom.
All right, Aaron McLaughlin on that breaking story tonight. Aaron, we thank you. In 60 seconds, the new developments from our interview with the victim of a nasty college rumor that went national. She told me how much it hurt her. Now, the man behind Barstool Sports, Dave Portnoy, tells me why he regrets Barstool's involvement. Stay with us. We're back now with an update on a story we brought you last week. Ole Miss freshman Mary Kate Cornett told me then about the nightmare she was living after a viral rumor about her went national. Among those who spread it, people associated with Barstool Sports. Late today, I spoke with Barstool's founder. Tonight, Barstool Sports founder Dave Portnoy says he has a message for Ole Miss freshman Mary Kate Cornett. If you could talk to Mary Kate tonight, what would you tell her?
I would apologize. I get why the family's pissed. I'm sad, and I wish we didn't play any part in it, and I'd apologize and say I wish we didn't.
Cornett told me last week how her life was turned completely upside down over a vile rumor that spread online that she'd slept with her boyfriend's dad.
I was having thousands of calls come through, thousands of texts coming through, calling me a whore, calling me a slut, telling me I deserve to die.
All because of an internet rumor.
All because of an internet rumor that has zero truth to it. Zero.
But Cornett says it got so much worse when the rumor was amplified by popular sports talk hosts, including at least 2 personalities associated with Barstool and ESPN's Pat McAfee, who said this in February without referencing Cornett by name.
This is what is being reported by everybody on the internet. Dad had sex with son's girlfriend.
I'm not a public figure that you can go talk about on your show to get more views. I'm not. Sorry.
Portnoy says he's worked to up Barstool's editorial standards. How did you feel about some of your colleagues, some of your employees talking about this, sharing this online on social media?
Yeah, I thought they were really stupid. For me, I've been doing this a long time. I thought it was clearly a fake story. I thought we were better than that.
McAfee also appearing to address the situation for the first time since our interview at an event last night.
And for that whole thing that's happening, I didn't want to add any more negativity as it was taking place like I did. We will try to figure that out and make some sort of silver lining in a very terrible situation, so that you can have that promise from me.
McAfee is part of the reason that this has been so miserable for me. He has done way more damage than he thinks he has, all for laughs and views.
ESPN and McAfee have declined NBC News' request for comment. Portnoy says his lawyers and Cornette's lawyers are now in touch.
I think they offered two paths, a mediation path or a lawsuit path. I think we're going to try to mediate. I don't know what we did legally wrong. That's a little different issue. Morally, we were wrong.
Either way, Cornette says her life is forever changed.
It's awful. It's awful. And having your life ruined by people who have no idea who you are is the worst feeling in the world.
And we are back in a moment with the dramatic police chase after a couple was allegedly kidnapped inside the back of this U-Haul. Stay with us. We are back now with a wild and bizarre police chase in New Mexico. A U-Haul truck speeding through busy streets with a man and woman allegedly kidnapped in the back. Steve Patterson picks it up from there.
Take over 218, take over comms.
A harrowing high-speed police pursuit, tearing through the streets of Santa Fe. All started early Tuesday. Neighbors noticing the screaming, pleading, banging coming from the back of this U-Haul box truck. Police say a man and woman were helping the driver, 50-year-old Stacy Walker, clean out the rental vehicle when he suddenly slammed the rear door, trapping them inside.
Regardless of how they got there, they were placed in a very dangerous situation.
Responding squad cars nearly clipped by the U-Haul, running a red light at high speed. Then racing through residential neighborhoods, barreling over speed bumps, through stop signs, over sidewalks, and finally...
Let's crash together. This spike.
A spike strip.
All tires are out.
But the driver doesn't stop, veering into oncoming traffic, raining debris from the truck's ruptured tires, before finally being brought to a stop.
Stop the vehicle! Stop the vehicle!
Are we lucky that this didn't end in a different way?
Absolutely.
Walker, arrested at gunpoint, now faces fleeing, assault, and kidnapping charges. While police noticed that banging from the back of the truck one last time, rescuing the kidnapped couple with just minor injuries. Saved just in time thanks to the high-speed heroics of a few good men.
We're sworn to serve and protect, and I believe we did that.
Steve Patterson, NBC News.
And we are back now with good news about our own Lester Holt, who received the William Allen White National Citation at the University of Kansas. The award recognizes outstanding journalists, and we congratulate Lester on this big achievement. That's Nightly News for this Thursday. We thank you so much for watching. I'm Tom Llamas. Have a great night.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.